Video in our series on tire technology. I want to talk about the tread itself. Now, we've spoken about the bead, we've spoken about the casing. Now let's talk about the area that actually makes contact with the ground. There's a few things to look out for here. You need to remember that whatever's going to make contact with the ground is going to contribute towards your rolling resistance. So if you're wanting a tire that's going to roll exceptionally quick, you want to look for a tire where the space between the center knobs is very close together. That's going to give you a fast rolling tire. The downside to that, of course, is if there's not much gap between the knobs, on a mountain bike tire means in wet conditions the tire is going to clog up with mud very easily. It also means on soft conditions there isn't much for the tire to dig into the ground to give you that grip that you need. So you need to find a balance based on the conditions you're riding. Moving towards the outside of the tire, the edge blocks are extremely important, as when your bike is leant over, these are what's making contact with the ground. Typically, there's more space between the edge blocks than there are on the center blocks, and this is because you're not worried about rolling resistance when you leant over. When you leant over, all you're worrying about is how well your tire is going to stick to the ground. One of the other areas where tire manufacturers are exceptionally clever is the way that they manufacture slits and sipes into the blocks. Now what these do is they allow the blocks to flex and deform to make better contact with the surface you're riding on, without the manufacturer having to use softer rubber compounds. So this gives you a tire that will wear longer due to it having harder rubber compound, but gives you a tire that will still conform to the ground and give you better traction. So this really is an ultimate compromise. Lastly, a thing to consider with your tire is the rubber compound itself. Now, as technologies have advanced, tire manufacturers are able to use more than one rubber compound in their manufacturing process. In fact, some manufacturers will use 3 or even 4 compounds. Typically, they'll use a harder compound towards the center, which gives you faster rolling resistance and longer life, and softer rubber compounds towards the edge, so you've got better traction and grip on your edge knobs. On tires that have multiple compounds, often what they will do is they will actually reinforce the knobs with a harder compound towards the center of the knob and a softer compound capping it. And this means that you've got that hard compound to keep the shape of that knob, whereas you've got a soft compound capping it so that it better conforms to the terrain.